Welcome back, everybody. We are now joined by the sports director here at TSTV, Jordan Cannon. Jordan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Well, we're doing well. So let's talk a little bit about the NBA. The Houston Rockets, obviously, with a big acquisition with Dwight Howard this offseason, teaming up with James Harden. Do you think they have the ability to compete for an NBA Finals?
I definitely think they have the ability because you're putting the number one center, with the number one shooting guard in James Harden. I also think that being in the Western Conference helps a lot because there is not much power there right now. Besides the Spurs, who last year was their 16th season in a row to be in the playoffs, so they somehow always end up in the playoffs. And maybe the Thunder, I don't see anybody being a powerhouse in the West, so I definitely can see the Rockets making it to the finals. All
right, well, that takes care of the Western Conference. What do you think about the Eastern Conference? Who will the Rockets face up in the NBA Finals?
This hurts me. This really hurts me to say because all my friends know how I feel, but I think it's going to be the Heat. They haven't lost anybody. There's no slowing them down right now. I don't see anyone in the East stopping the Heat. So I'm going to say Rockets Heat in the finals.
Wow. Okay, so Rockets Heat, NBA Finals. You heard it here from Jordan Cannon first. So before we get into Texas TCU and your predictions, we have a little something to settle here about Vince Young. So the Rams obviously need a quarterback. They contacted Brett Favre apparently, and you're saying it's absurd that they would contact somebody like Brett Favre and all these other quarterbacks maybe on their practice squad over Vince Young. Explain yourself.
That just boggles my mind when you have a guy like Vince Young, who, granted, he is a little bit of a head case, but we'll touch on that in a sec. You have the talent level of Vince Young. Instead, you call Brett Favre out of retirement to see if he will come play quarterback for you. That just confuses me. Why would you do that?
But I don't really know how serious that was to call Favre out of retirement. And Vince Young is a head case. Everybody wants to throw out this 31-19 as a starter. But so what? I mean, he never did anything, and he couldn't even stay in the league. And everybody also says, oh, he got kind of like gypped with the Packers this year. But if he was really that good and he really learned from everything and he was going to put everything on the line for that job, the Packers would have said, you know, he needs to be on our team, and they would have done anything in their power to keep him on their team. So I don't know.
With going with the head case thing, it's been 3 years. He has lost everything, all of his money, all his NFL career. And I mean, we're assuming that all this guy wants to do is play football. So I think that when you lose everything, you have to come back to school for 3 years. Maybe he's figured it out, but nobody's giving him a chance to even find out if he's figured out his head issues or not. And that's the thing that confuses me is give him a shot. If he goes crazy again, okay, we know that he cannot play in the NFL. But he's had 3 years to correct himself, and everyone knows that Vince Young is an incredible quarterback. So why not give him a chance to go out there and prove that again, especially if you want to win games, because he does win games.
So what do you think it is? Do you think it's a talent issue, or are they just evaluating his attitude?
No. I definitely think that it's an attitude issue. I think that you ask anyone out there, they're going to agree with you that Vince Young is an incredible quarterback. I think
incredible is a strong word for Vince Young in the NFL.
That's okay. That's a good point. He is a solid quarterback. I'll say solid quarterback in the NFL.
Decent.
Solid.
Same thing.
But okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I do think it's an attitude thing. He had issues with Tennessee and Jeff Fisher. He obviously showed that he was too immature to be in the NFL. He had too many things, and people were catering to him too much. Now, I think he knows that he can't do that. He knows he's got to behave. He's got to go to team meetings. He can't throw his pads into the stands. He's got to follow the rules to stay on an NFL team.
Yeah, okay, I agree with that to a certain extent. But then when you look at the Rams in their particular situation, I think the Favre thing was blown out of context, like things are a lot of times with the media. But when you look at it, why not sign somebody off the practice squad or younger free agent quarterback and maybe you find yourself the next Brady, you know, it's your 6th-round draft pick, or somebody off the practice squad, or you find your next Romo like the Cowboys found, and somebody, I mean, undrafted even. So I just don't get what Vince, he doesn't really give them a future. So what do you think about that?
That's a fair point. I can completely agree with that point. He is an older quarterback. I don't know. It just, the whole situation is just confusing to me when you we've talked about this so much already. It just confuses me that when you have the possible talent of Vince Young, why would you call it Brett Favre? Why would you go to guys like Brady Quinn? I don't know. But maybe they do pull someone from the practice squad or something. I don't have an answer for that. I just, when I heard about the whole Brett Favre not taking Vince Young thing, it just confused me.
Okay, and real quick before you go, Texas TCU predictions for this weekend.
I think Texas is going to win by a touchdown. I think Texas needs to focus on running the ball. TCU has an actual defense, and I also think Case McCoy needs to sharpen up his passes. You can't be throwing things all willy-nilly now, and you can't miss 2 touchdowns basically in the end zone.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us, Jordan. We're happy to have you on the show.
Thanks for
Coming up next is our favorite segment. It's the fastest 5 minutes. Stay tuned. It's The Hook.